أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وزدنا من فضلك علم التعليم إنك على كل شيء قدير. We have been working on 4 characteristics of an ism, and with the grace of Allah we are nearly there. We are looking at the 4th aspect of an ism, which is called wus'a, and English translation will be definiteness or capacity of a noun. So from the wus'a point of view, an ism is divided into ism ma'rifa and ism nakira. Ma'rifa, there are 7 categories. We have looked at 5 of them already. Ism alam is proper noun. Ism damir is basically personal pronoun, and plural is damair, which is jamu mukassar. Ism ishara is demonstrative pronoun. Ism mawsool is relative pronoun, and the 5th one we looked at last time was mu'arraf bil laam. I said last time that we can convert an indefinite noun to a definite noun by the addition of alif lam. But when we look at this, it literally means mu'arraf bil lam, made ma'rifa with lam. So what happens is that it is the addition of lam which converts an indefinite noun to a definite noun. We do not add al, we add lam, hence it is called mu'arraf bil lam. Let me explain what I mean by this. For example, we have a noun called kitabun, which is an indefinite noun. Kitabun, a book, and by adding lam of definiteness it becomes kitabu, and we have added lam of definiteness here. So basically lam of definiteness is a silent. It doesn't have one of these harka, dhamma, fatha or kasra. So when we add lam, and because lam is silent, it becomes difficult to pronounce it. We can try, we can say l-khatab, so it's really difficult to pronounce. And what Arabs then do is they add hamza before it and give this hamza fatha. So the word becomes al-kitabu, which is then easy to pronounce. So from kitabun, a book, we have al-kitabu, the book. And basically then al is equal to the English particle da. From kalamun, al-kalamu, from baytun, al-baytu, and so on. So this is the reason this is called made definite by the addition of lam rather than al. And because in a way this is then kind of extra, not extra that it doesn't have a function there, it does have a function in pronunciation, but it is not hamza which makes this ism definite, it is lam. From that point of view, it's a kind of extra there, and there are scenarios when this is not pronounced at all, and I will go into some of those scenarios later on. Before that, we are going to look at some other rules which govern the use of lam of definiteness, and we are going to address a couple of them here, not all of them. We have already looked at one main point, which is that when lam of definiteness is added to an indefinite noun, the tanween goes. So for example, this tanween goes. So tanween and lam of definite do not coexist. So from kitabun it becomes al-kitabu, from kalamun it becomes al-kalamu, from baytun it becomes al-baytu. Tanween goes completely. second point. To highlight the second point, let us look at this word, which is masjid. Masjidun will be in Rafa, Masjidan in Nasb, and Masjidan in Jar. So 3 Arabic states and 3 forms or 3 appearances of this noun. Its plural is Jama Mukassar Masajidu. Masajidu. And Masajidu is Gairu Munsarif, and we know that Gairu Munsarif Asma do not take Kasra in Halat Jar. So we have got 3 states and 2 forms. So Masajidu, Masajida, and Masajida. So now what happens if we add Laam of definiteness to this noun? So we add, it will become Al Masajidu. This will become Al Masajida, and this will become Masajidi. So what has happened here is that after addition of Laam of definiteness, this noun has taken Kasra in Halat Jar. So the rule is that Ghair Munsif Asma do not take a Kasra in Halat Jar, but when Laam of definiteness is added, they do take Kasra in Halat Jar, or in other words we can say the Laam of definiteness forces them or compels them to accept Kasra in Halat Jar. So this is a very important point, because it can make a difference as far as the i'rab of a phrase or a sentence is concerned. So 3 states, 3 forms. Sorry, 3 states, 3 forms, 3 states, 2 forms, and with Al, 3 states, again 3 forms. So for the next point, let's focus on these 2 words. We say Al Kamaru, and then there is another word which you're very familiar with because it occurs in Quran quite often, Ash-Shamsu. Al-Kamaru Ash-Shamsu. So what's happening here? That here we are pronouncing this Laam of definiteness. We have pronounced it. Here we have completely ignored it. We don't pronounce it. Why is that? Before I go into that, we have 28 alphabets in Arabic. 14 of them fall into this category, and exactly the other 14 fall into that category. So it's easy to remember that way. But how do we remember which one falls into this category and which one goes into this category? And why is that? So first, why is that? The reason for the difference is the articulation point in the oral cavity. Articulation point of Lam and Sheen are close together in oral cavity, in the front of the oral cavity. So we say Lam and Sheen is right between the teeth. So they're close together. So what happens is, the more close together they are, it becomes difficult to pronounce them separately. They become a bit hard on the tongue and the flow is disturbed. And for Arabs, flow cannot be disturbed. The language has to be really fluent. So what they do is, here, rather than saying Al-Shams, they which is a bit hard on the tongue, they ignore that and pronounce this ashams, which is much more fluent way of pronouncing this word. So ignoring this, in a way what they're doing is, either we can say they convert lam to sheen, or because lam is ignored, so sheen is pronounced twice, whichever way we look at it. The point is that lam is not pronounced, and you go right from hamza to sheen, and the flow is much better. Here in this case, the lam is from the front part of the oral cavity and kaf is somewhere here, so the articulation points are a bit far from each other, and it becomes easy to pronounce them. So al-kamaru, al-kamaru. So the flow is much better here, and the flow is better here by combining hamza to sheen. So al-kamaru ash-shamsu. Kamar means, we know kamar means moon, and shams means sun. So those word ism asma which fall in this category, they are called moon letters. Huruful kamari, moon letters, and these are called sun letters. Sun letters. So basically the copy of Quran which we have, most of us, it's not a problem there at all, because we can see that lam is pronounced here and it is ignored here, but problem occurs when we do not have these markers. So how do we know when to pronounce lam and when not to pronounce lam? Many years ago, I was when I went to Medina first time, I think it was 1979, I was sitting in Masjid Nabawi and I thought I will read Quran, and I picked one copy of Quran and there were no vowels, short vowels. Picked another copy, no harka on that either, so I couldn't really read Quran. So the principle here is, it's the easy way to remember is by looking at these alphabets. What I've done here is that this group, right from here up to here, dal, zal, ra, za, sin, sheen, swad, dwad, tha, zwa, I have underlined these. This is one big group, and before this group I have underlined tha and sa, and after this I have underlined lam and noon. So all these letters which are underlined, they are sun letters, the others are moon letters. So this is an easy way to remember. However, with the time we really become used to this and we don't even think about this, and we go right from hamza to dal here, and from hamza to jim, to lam and jim here, etc. So that's the format to keep in mind to remember which are the sun letters and which are the moon letters. Let us get some examples. For example, we say Kul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad. The word is samadun. Samadun. So when we make this definite, it becomes as-samadu. The meaning goes. However, when we read it, recite the Quran, we say Allah Hus Samad. So we do not pronounce this. What happens here is that from the last letter of this lafaz jalala, we have gone straight to swad, which is in this case, because it's a sun letter, so we have not even pronounced lam here, and we have totally ignored alif, this, which is actually hamza. So because I said earlier on, this hamza is a kind of extra, it's not the hamza which has made this noun definite is the Laam of definiteness, and from that point of view it is really extra. And when in this kind of situation, when we have to combine this with the first letter of the next word, this Hamza is totally ignored, and for that reason this Hamza is called Hamza of connecting Hamza or joining Hamza. So connecting Hamza or joining Hamza, because it helps to connect this word with that word. So connecting Hamza. So Hamzatul Wasl in Arabic, Hamzatul Wasl, connecting Hamza or joining Hamza. So when two isms are read together and the second one has Laam of definiteness, we do not pronounce this Hamza, which is Hamzatul Wasl. It helps to connect this ism with that ism, and Hamzatul Wasl is quite common in Quran. There is another term called Hamzatul Qata'a. Hamzatul Qata'a is always pronounced. For example, if this was Hamzatul Qata'a, we will say Allahu As-Samadu, and because the Hamza of Laam Tarif is connecting Hamza, Hamzatul Wasl, we do not pronounce it, and we recite Quran Allahu Samad. There are other 2 or 3 words worth looking at. Winter is called Shita, Shita'un, and summer is called Sayfun. So these are indefinite. We can make them definite by Laam of definiteness. Say Ashita here, because this is a sun letter. Ashita, the mean goes, and this is also by chance sun letter, so that will become As-Sayfu, not Al but As-Sayfu. The mean goes. So when we recite Surah Quraysh, we say لِإِلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ إِيلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ. Rihla. Rihlata Shita'i Was-Swayfi. So these both become in Halat Jar, and there's a reason for that. So Rihlata Shita'i Was-Swayfi. So these are both sun letters. And if we continue to read this surah, then we come to this point. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So Baytun is moon letter. So when we have combined this Haza with Bayt and we have ignored this Hamzatul Wasl, the pronunciation is Hazal Bayti. So Laam has been pronounced here, while in Shita and Saif, those were sun letters, Laam was not pronounced at all. So that concludes our today's lesson. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka